Alright, so hey guys, so welcome to another Warframe video, and today I want to talk a little bit about the setup that I'm personally using to fight the Profit Taker if I'm not recording the fight for a video, which I probably won't be since I already did everything that I wanted to do. Now, the setup is not overly min-maxy, so it's not going to give you any world record times, but I can personally finish the Profit Taker mission in about 6 or 7 minutes on average. And that for me personally is fast enough, because when you finish the mission with full boosters, you're going to get 250,000 credits, you're going to get a bunch of standing, you're going to get some dead bonds, you're going to get 2 of the toroids, and you're going to get a mod drop as well as the mission reward. And that is a lot of stuff for something that takes me, as I've said, about 6 to 7 minutes. Now, while the setup is not overly min-maxy, I am using a Riven on my primary and on my secondary. And there is just no way to guarantee you're gonna have the same Riven for the same weapon, so just pick the strongest weapon you have, ideally something that does a lot of damage and can scale crit, and make sure you cover as many elements as possible, okay? Because nothing is going to be as annoying and slow you down as much as only having a couple of elements and just having to wait around switching between the different weaknesses over and over and over again, not really doing any damage to the shields. So, since I ran out of Forma before I was able to finish my Umbra Chroma Prime, I'm still using the standard Chroma, and I'm using a modified version of my previous Idol Hunter setup, and the only thing I've changed here is that I took out Primed Vigor and I put in Adaptation instead, which is a lot stronger. But I've also shuffled my Arcanes around, so I'm now running Arcane Nullifier, which gives you an 80% chance to completely ignore a magnetic proc, which is great, because if you get hit by a magnetic proc during the spider fight, you're gonna lose all your energy, and you might not get enough to actually reset your buffs, and you would have to stack them again, which is not great. And since I finally managed to get myself Arcane Grace for my Inaros, I decided to put that in as well, which keeps me pretty healthy throughout the entire fight and makes it pretty hard to die. Then for my primary, I'm running a Buzzlock, which is really strong, especially when you lock on, and here I have Serration, Split Chamber, Vital Sense, Fast Hands, and a pretty spicy Riven. And as far as the damage types that I'm covering with this weapon, I have Cryo Rounds for the cold damage and Hellfire with Stormbringer for radiation, but I'm also covering Puncture with this weapon. For my secondary, I'm running the Doomshroom, which is a crit-focused Catch-a-Moon kit gun, and here I have Hornet Strike, then I have Barrel Diffusion, Lethal Torrent, Prime Pistol Gambit, and Target Cracker, and I'm covering Heat with Prime Heated Charge, and Magnetic with Deep Freeze, and a Riven that also has crit chance. And I almost forgot, the Doomshroom is also covering impact damage. Then for my melee weapon, I'm using the standard Redeemer, not Redeemer Prime, because I have that one set up for status, and Ray of Bullet Dance, Prime Pressure Point, Molten Impact, North Wind, and Vicious Frost for blast, Spot Strike for damage, Primed Fury for attack speed, and then we have Primed Fever Strike and Shocking Touch for corrosive. Now you can also run a Crit Cat with this, which is the Adarza Kavat. Just make sure that you equip it with Cat's Eye, which is somewhat unreliable, but it will help you every now and then. And I would also recommend you bring Medipet Kit, which will give you about a minute to revive the pet if it goes down. And finally, my art gun of choice for the Profit Taker is the Imperator Vandal, which is just absolutely disgusting, even with a somewhat basic build like this one. And I already know that some of you will say, mate, just use a Velocitus, it's a lot faster. It's actually not, because having to charge the shots all the way and then sometimes not critting, thus not one-shotting the legs, is significantly slower than just brapping away with the Imperator Vandal. The Imperator Vandal is just way faster. I mean, you just saw how fast it can shred the Profit Taker, and that's not the maximum damage of it either. You can push the damage even higher if you want to. Now, as far as the strategy with this setup is concerned, it's actually a lot more straightforward than with something like Inaros or even Oberon, where you kind of have to take care of the ads, or there's going to be too many of them and it's going to become a massive cluster truck. And it's mainly because, well, the ads don't really have enough time to spawn, and the bosses are going to be dead before they can overwhelm you. So your main priority here is very straightforward. Just keep doing damage at all times, because if you're not doing that, there's going to be more and more ads coming in, which means you will eventually have to shift your focus from the boss to the ads, which means you're losing even more damage on the boss, and it just drags the boss fight on and on and on. So you want to keep up your third to get the extra damage buff, and you can do this either via using the Energizing Dash passive from Zenuric, you can use Energy Pizzas, or you can squeeze in Rage or Hunter Adrenaline on your Chroma, and you just want to keep switching between your weapons based on what the boss is weak to, and if the boss is weak to something you don't have an awful lot of, or you don't have that damage type at all, simply pop into your operator, hit him with a secondary fire of your amp, and it will switch its weakness to something else. Just bear in mind that when you switch the weakness on the boss, or the boss switches the weakness naturally, there's a short few second delay before you can do it again, and it's a great time to take out an AoE weapon. I'm usually doing it with the Doomshroom, and take care of some of the ads and the beacons to make the entire situation far more manageable. Also, if you are using the Redeemer for this fight, which I would very much recommend because it basically just gives you another gun, unless you want to use a Zoa with Exodia Contagion, I think it is, that fires the projectile, which by the way is extremely dangerous because of the boss's massive hitbox, you want to bear in mind that you are only doing whatever elemental damage you put on the weapon plus blast. You are not doing IPS damage. And that's pretty much all I have to say, aside from don't be discouraged if it doesn't work out right away, you know, if you die a couple of times. I've killed this boss nearly 100 times now, so I've kind of gotten used to how it works and what to do. And I also have Arcane Grace, which is carrying me pretty damn hard here. And at the end of the day, I'm just an average player that farmed up a lot of gear. I would not classify myself as being good at Warframe, and if I can do it, so can you. And even if you try this out and it's not your kind of thing, it just doesn't work for you, there's no shame in switching into Inaros and just face planting the boss until it dies. There really isn't. I mean, I did that for the first 50 kills or so. But anyway, that's enough blabbering for today, so I thank you very much for watching. As always, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video and it's gonna be helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.
Till we know the air and water flowing hard, the land we call our home. Push to keep the dark from coming. Feel the weight of what we owe. This, the song of sons and daughters, by the heart of who we are. Making peace to build a future, strong, united, working till we